ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा जय Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all so much for joining. So we'll continue our reading of the teachings of Queen Kunti. We are on chapter 10, very beautiful verse. Namo kinchana vittaya nivrita gunavrittaye atmaramaya shantaya kaivalya pataye nama. So Queen Kunti is saying that my obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monists. So, this is a very beautiful verse which is focusing on how true wealth is, is being uh, detached from material things but possessing Krishna. So, basically, having nothing material but possessing Krishna. So, this having nothing means our detachment from material things and attachment to Krishna. So, this verse emphasizes detachment from material desires for ultimate peace and recognizing that the Supreme Lord brings liberation from suffering, and he gives a real happiness. Attachment to Krishna will actually give us real happiness and freedom from worldly anxieties. So the highest state is that of akinchana, because Krishna is akinchana vittaya. That means he's the wealth of the impoverished. So the highest state is possessing nothing materially, but being rich in spiritual connection, as material possessions bring entanglement. That is why when we are talking about the sannyasis, they are referred to as Maharaj. So Maharaj means, the greatest king, na? But the king should have a great wealth also, na? So they do have the greatest wealth, and that is the wealth of Krishna consciousness. So we refer to them, we call them as Maharaj, because really they are the greatest because they possess the greatest wealth, and that is complete detachment from materialistic things and attachment to Krishna. So the goal is to transcend the ignorance, the avidya that is binding us to the body and material life, and we should inquire about the absolute truth and not just work for temporary economic material gain. And this concept, we've been discussing it for the past few sessions, and we'll continue that discussion today also. So now let's start our reading from the highlighted section. We could probably read one paragraph. Can take turns. Anyone wants to start?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'll start.
Yes, Mataji, please start.
Hare Krishna. Pranams. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Generally, people go to a church or temple to pray to God for material prosperity. Oh God, give us our daily bread. But although they are approaching God for material prosperity, give me this, give me that, they are also considered pious because they approach God, unlike the atheists who never approach Him. Why shall I approach God? The atheist says. I shall create my own wealth, and by advancement of science I shall be happy. One who thinks, for my own prosperity I shall depend on my own strength and my own knowledge, is a dushkriti, a most sinful person, but one who thinks my prosperity depends on the mercy of God is pious.
Hare
Could I
Krishna.
complete? Thank you, Mataji.
Let's
Hare
discuss, Mataji. Thank you so much, Hari
Hare
Bol. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that, many people, they go to church or even temples and other places of worship to pray for material prosperity. And like there are some prayers also, no? Oh God, give us our day. Oh Lord, hallowed be thy name. Give us our daily bread. Like these kind of prayers are there. So Prabhupada is saying that this is at least better, they are at least pious because they have faith in the existence of God and they know that God is all powerful. So he can give, he can give their desires, what they are desiring. So at least that concept of faith is there. You know, in contrast with the atheists who never approach God. Okay, they just totally and completely depend upon their own abilities to get everything. So they think that they can create their own wealth, and by advancement in science, they shall be happy. That is what most of the world is running towards, right? That the more and more material possessions I will acquire, the happier I will be. That is the feeling, that is the faith actually a lot of people have. But Prabhupada is saying that one who thinks that for my own prosperity, I shall depend on my own strength and my own knowledge, such a person is the most sinful person, Dushkriti. But one who thinks that my prosperity depends on the mercy of God, such a person is pious. So, in this paragraph, the contrast is drawn very clearly between a sinful person and a pious person. Okay. And this concept of, approaching God, uh, for what reason are we approaching God? This point has been discussed several places in the scriptures. For example, in Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna is saying Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna, he's talking about the four kinds of pious people. They are sukritina. They are rendering devotional service to Krishna with some motive. There is some desire that they have, some reason for which they are coming to Krishna, but at least they are approaching Krishna. So they are referred to as pious people, sukritina. They could be the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, or the knower of the absolute, knowledge seeking devotees. They have some motivation for which they are coming. So this is not pure devotional service, but even though they are coming with some desire, at least they are coming to Krishna, they are approaching Krishna, so they are considered as pious. On the other hand, the four kinds of dushkritina are also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not come to Krishna, so those who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and those of atheistic nature, they do not surrender to Krishna. So this is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita very clearly that what is the distinction between a pious person and an impious person or a sinful person. And an impious person is sinful because they think that the property of Krishna is actually their own property. They don't understand that Krishna is the proprietor of everything. Everything belongs to Krishna, and hence everything should be used in the service of Krishna. They are far removed from this concept. And when one thinks that he is the owner of everything around and everything is meant for his own enjoyment, that is when the sinful tendency comes out now. That is when one starts committing sins because of that selfishness, right? And then this other reference where Lord Krishna says that yoga kshemam vahamyaham, where he says that I personally carry what my devotee lacks and I preserve what he has. So here also we understand that uh, it is by Krishna's mercy that we have material prosperity also. This is how a devotee thinks in the right consciousness. Srimad Bhagavatam, also we have read earlier where Krishna says that when I especially favor someone, I gradually take away his material opulence so that he depends only on me. So whether we are getting prosperity or not, it is ultimately after the sanction of the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, in 18th chapter also we read that there are five causes, or five doers for anything. uh, our senses, our desire, the effort we take, and then our sanchit karma is also there. Then Krishna's willingness. Most importantly, it is the super soul. If Krishna does not sanction, then whatever we may desire, it's not going to happen. Right? So this concept of the sanction of God is not believed upon by the atheistic people. But that is where they make the mistake because they just totally depend upon their own abilities. So in terms of devotion also, Krishna says in the fourth chapter that ye yata mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. So as they surrender, I reward them accordingly. So, this concept of Krishna's reciprocation, Krishna's sanctioning, this is very important and has to be understood because if we are not taking this into consideration, then we are actually missing out on the most important aspect, and which is the presence of Krishna. Because anyone who thinks that they can just get success in life by their own hard work, then they are totally negating the presence of God now. And that is such a despicable state to be in because that is the start of sinful life, which is very common these days because people are just thinking that I can work hard and achieve success. And this whole theory of manifestation, that you can manifest whatever you deeply desire, and when you deeply desire something, the whole creation then conspires to have that desire fulfilled. These kind of theories, these kind of books, movies, they become very popular. Why? Because people don't want to think that there is a supreme controller. They want to believe that for my success, I am the only one who's responsible. But if we pause for a moment and then just think of what is going on around us, we'll understand that this whole concept of thinking that if I work hard, I will achieve success, this concept is greatly flawed because there are so many people who are working so hard, but they are not achieving success because they don't have that sanchit karma for which, which will allow them to have that kind of success. And there are also people who don't work that hard and they are getting success in life. So, this basic observation of the world around us itself will tell us that there is a supreme power and we have to depend on that supreme power. So, Prabhupada has very simply mentioned that, the simple rule that one who thinks that for my own prosperity I shall depend on my own strength and my own knowledge, such a person is most sinful person, Dushkrita. But one who thinks that my prosperity depends on the mercy of God, such a person is pious. So, Prabhupada, when we read Prabhupada's purports now, they are very clear, very and very hard hitting also. He's not beating around the bush. He's not trying to please anyone or any section of society by just diluting the knowledge. Very clearly, he's saying what is the distinction between a pious person and an impious person. Now, the problem is that we don't surrender. I mean, at least speaking for myself, the hurdle in surrender is that we just depend completely on our own abilities. And Srila Prabhupada is saying that such thinking is most sinful. We have to always feel helpless and we have to always depend on the mercy of Krishna. That is pious. And actually, when we see that devotees who are at the highest stages of bhakti, they do not want anything at all for themselves. So, I mean, the basic starting point is where we just want, a starting point in piousness is where we are approaching God, but with some desire. But when one reaches the highest stage of bhakti, then one doesn't desire anything at all for themselves. A very beautiful example is that of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. I mean, we can take examples from the lives of all devotees, but today just mentioning Srila Raghunath Das Goswami because, through these incidents, the two incidents that I'll be mentioning, we see that how pure is the heart of a devotee and how selfless is the heart of a pure devotee. So, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, it is said that the first bhajan kutir was made by him because previous to that all the saints they would just do meditation under the trees. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami also, he would be so absorbed in his bhajan that for him day and night was same, whether it is hot or it is cold. He was completely oblivious uh, of the surroundings. And Srila Kaviraj Goswami has mentioned that the regulative principles of Raghunath Das Goswami were like the lines in a stone. I mean, it was just completely unchangeable. He was so strict, but yet his heart was so soft with love and compassion. So one day, while he was doing his bhajan near Radhakund, he was very attached to Radhakund. So he would do his bhajan near Radhakund, and Radhakund at that time was not like what we see now, where now it's completely surrounded with houses and the path, and it's totally different now. But at that time, it was just like a jungle area. So he would be meditating there, and one day a tiger came close to him. Now he was so absorbed in chanting, his eyes were closed, he was chanting the holy names of Radha Krishna. He was not even aware that a tiger has come. And Sanatan Goswami was passing by. He noticed this and he was concerned for him. And suddenly, what happens is Lord Krishna appears with a stick and he protects Raghunath Das Goswami. So then the tiger moves away. Another time, it was hot noon, summer sun in Vrindavan, and Raghunath Das Goswami was doing his bhajan. He was doing his chanting and chanting and chanting, and he didn't understand that, you know, what is, whether it is so hot outside or anything. He was not at all um, concerned about that. But Radharani came and with her own veil, with her own dupatta, she was covering his head from the sun, and this again was seen by Sanatan Goswami. So after some time, when Radharani left, then Sanatan Goswami, he was the oldest, the most senior of the Goswamis, right? So he came and he actually chastised Raghunath Das Goswami that your bhajan is not meant to engage Krishna and Radha in your service, but rather you are supposed to serve them. But now what is happening is that Krishna is coming with a stick to protect you. Radharani is covering your head with a veil. So then after only this, then Sanatan Goswami constructed a first bhajan kutir for Raghunath Das Goswami. And from then on, the Goswamis started having bhajan kutirs. But this beautiful pastime tells us that how strong is the discipline or regular practice of sadhana and strictness of great devotees, and how much is their absorption and how selfless is their love. We are talking about seeking something from God, asking God for something. But this is this for the through this example of devotees, we can understand that their state is so exalted. Now, we cannot imitate that. The level of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, we cannot imitate that. But no, obviously, we should have that as a motivation that someday I should reach there. But it's a very elevated state. So we should not, at least, what we can do is that we should not think that all this is mine, all this has been created by me. I have so many contacts, I have so much money, I have so much power. This is my creation, I have done all this. We should not think like that. We should depend upon Krishna, because we have to know that without Krishna's sanction nothing is possible. So yes, we cannot imitate what Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and other great devotees have that kind of connection. We cannot think of that level, but we should know that we have to totally depend upon the mercy of Krishna. Okay. Then next paragraph, it is a fact, starting with it is a fact. Anyone wants to read? Yes,
Hare
Lalita,
Krishna
read it,
Mataji,
Mataji.
shall I?
Yes, continue,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji, please read.
It's thank you. Okay, Hare Krishna. It is a fact that without the sanction tavat tanur idam tanupekshitanam, we have discovered to counteract distress. But when freedom from such distress is not sanctioned by God, example, a sick man may have very good medicine and a qualified physician. Can you guarantee the life of this patient? The doctor will always say, no, I I try my best. That's all. An intelligent doctor knows the ultimate sanction is in the hand of an instrument. If God does not want the patient to live, then all my medicine and all my knowledge will fail.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada here is
Hare
talking
Krishna.
about the intelligent doctor. What will an intelligent doctor say? He will think that ultimate sanction is the in the hand of God. If Krishna doesn't sanction, nothing is going to work. And that is actually intelligence. So the medical treatment that is given, that is standard. No? But it works on some patients, it doesn't work on some patients. Why? Because it is their karma, according to which the sanction of Krishna may or may not be there. So that is, basic common sense will tell us that there is a higher power. But sadly, some people do not believe in this. But scriptures, if we look at our scriptures, even in Lord Brahma's prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, Tavat tanuridam tanupekshitanam, right? That is mentioned here, that one's endeavors are successful only so long as they are sanctioned by the Lord. Without his mercy, all efforts are useless. And even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Mrityu sarvas haraschaham, I am all devouring death. That means he can take away everything. And through time also, everything is ultimately getting destroyed. Right? So God alone gives a life and he only can take it away. So this whole broad understanding should be there. Then, as I was mentioning in the 18th chapter, the factors are mentioned that for any effort, the five factors are mentioned, and the fifth factor is actually deva. So the body, the doer, the senses, effort, and then the fifth factor is deva, the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So as Paramatma, Krishna is seated in the heart and he sees and knows everything. So when the living entity desires something, and then wants to take that effort and then uses the senses and actually does that work. Now, whether that will be successful or not, that comes by the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So Krishna, as Paramatma, he knows everything, whether this person deserves this or not according to his karmic, whatever is actually deserving or not. Krishna will see all that and ultimately sanction everything. So, we're talking about medicine, whether medicine works or not. Uh, all material remedies, there are so many remedies that can be done, but they will be ultimately ineffective without the will of the Supreme Lord. And the devotee understands this very clearly that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, Nimitt matram bhava savyasachin, that you become merely an instrument. So, whatever we are actually able to accomplish in life is in God's hands. So, we try our best. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna never tells Arjuna that, oh, I am the controller of everything, you let it be, I'll take care of the war, you don't need to fight. Krishna is still telling Arjuna to fight, and through Arjuna, Krishna is telling us that whatever is our endeavor, we have to do that to the best of our ability. We have to try our best, but ultimately the result is in God's hand. So, Krishna also says that Don't be attached to the results of your work, but also never be attached to not doing your duty. So, this whole complete understanding has to be there that our duty has to be done to the best of our ability, but ultimately we have to know that success or failure is going to come by Krishna's sanction only. And it is not that Krishna is just sitting there and deciding that, okay, this particular person, I'm going to make him successful. This particular person, I'm going to make him a failure. No, Krishna has his reason for whatever he is giving or not giving. So the laws of karma and Krishna's justice is completely flawless. Whether it is making sense to us right now or not, we need to have this faith that whatever the Lord does is supremely perfect. Okay. Yes. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, you want to read the next paragraph?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The ultimate sanction, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. This
Yeah. The ultimate sanction, therefore, is Krishna. Those who are foolish do not know this, and therefore they are called Muda rascals. They do not know the they do not know that although whatever they are doing may be very good, if it is not ultimately sanctioned by God, by Krishna, it will all be a failure. On the other hand, a devotee knows with whatever intelligence I have, I may try to become happy, but without Krishna's sanction, I shall never be happy. This is the distinction between a devotee and a non-devotee. Hare Krishna. Should I continue?
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
We'll discuss this, Mataji, then we'll read the
Yes,
last.
Mataji.
Thank you so much. Hmm. So, very clearly, Prabhupada is saying the ultimate sanction is Krishna. But those who are foolish, they do not know this, and that's why they are called as Buddhas, rascals. So, I heard a very nice lecture about this particular verse. So, I just wanted to share what I heard in that lecture because it was directly about this verse. Now, as I say this, I will first tell you a disclaimer that this is not my level of realization, but this is very inspiring. You know, what Prabhu was saying in this lecture is very, very inspiring. And we have to know that there will be so many things in our spiritual life when we are reading and hearing from devotees. We may not be at that level, we may not have realized that fully, but that should be our, our guiding line, that I have to get there. And that is why we should hear from seniors, because they are speaking out of realization, and as we hear from them, our realization will also increase, right? So Prabhu was saying that whenever we are trying for something material and it is not working, then we must know that Krishna has not sanctioned that yet. And why has Krishna not sanctioned that? Because there is something for me to learn. Something which I have still not learned, and that something is creating an obstacle in the path of my bhakti. So, till the time that obstacle is removed, Krishna will not sanction that. And that is why, when we are not getting success in our endeavors, we should not get frustrated. And rather, we have to try to see what is it that I need to learn. And while we are doing this, we also have to pray for Krishna's mercy. Then His mercy will help us overcome that obstacle which is, obstructing our advancement, and then Krishna will sanction the solution for the problem. So a devotee knows that without Krishna's sanction, I will never be happy. And that is the difference between a devotee and non-devotee. Now, as we read this, it's actually very difficult to follow. I mean, speaking by my personal realization, it is very difficult to follow, because when we are working towards something materially, or we have some material desire, sometimes we get stuck upon it. That kind of create, and we can actually feel that every time we are trying to progress in bhakti, that desire, because it is still unfulfilled, that is always there at the back of our mind, and we always keep feeling that, oh, just if just that thing, just this one desire would get fulfilled, I would be so much more peaceful, and I would do this and I would do that, and I would be much better placed in my life. But here we have to have faith, as Prabhu has mentioned, that we have to have faith at that if it is not fulfilled, there is a reason. Krishna knows that reason. There is something better for me in store, better in the sense that for my advancement in bhakti, maybe that particular thing that I'm desiring so much right now is not good. There is something that I need to learn, somewhere I need to improve. Like, for example, if we have some bad relations with someone, and that is causing a lot of disturbance in our life. It could be a relative or anyone or in a workplace, something like that. So, some disturbance, some tension with another person, and that is really troubling me a lot. So, the learning for us, for me in this situation, could be that I need to remove that negativity for that person from my heart. And then for that also, I have to pray to Krishna only. With Krishna's mercy, only that can happen. But sincerely, I need to work towards removing that negativity from my heart. And then when it is removed by Krishna's mercy, then that particular obstacle is cleared. So then in this way, it's very personal, right? We can all have our own hurdles, our own desires which are unfulfilled and that are kind of stopping us to go to the next level. So that is up to us to analyze and think. But uh, Krishna will, when we are praying to Krishna sincerely, then he helps us remove that hurdle, but he will do that in his own way, right? It may not always be very pleasant for us, but there again, this is where we have to make that choice, that do I want Krishna or do I want material happiness? And if we choose Krishna, then Krishna has his own way of doing things. And this faith we should have that this is going to ultimately result in my happiness. And Prabhu also said another very nice point that Prabhupada's purports, he mentions everything so clearly and so sharply. Many times, what happens is that we are reading from so many different places, we are hearing from so many different people that the sharpness doesn't come. So, this doesn't mean that we should not hear from different devotees. Say, there are so many wonderful devotees in our ISKCON society itself, there are so many wonderful devotees. But the idea is that we should definitely give focused attention to Srila Prabhupada's words. So, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, reading Srila Prabhupada's purports very deeply, hearing Srila Prabhupada's lectures, we have to really focus on that. So, when we keep reading Prabhupada's books again and again and again, then that clarity of concept comes. Yes, we may feel that we are not there yet, the level that Prabhupada is mentioning, but at least there will be no confusion about what we need to do. Okay, so for example, we may have questions like, questions in our life: can we eat non prasadam? No. We know that the answer is no. Can we party? No, because that is useless material engagement. So, in this way, when we have read Prabhupada's purports again and again, yes, it is very heavy, but it is also very loving. And then those heavy and loving words, they sink into our conscience. They sink into our way of thinking and our way of life. And that is where we need to be, where our whole way of life, our whole way of thinking is so colored with the color of Prabhupada's teachings. And then, then we are in a position where we can say that one can become pure devotee in one life. It will not take lifetimes, because we have Krishna has given us such a powerful acharya. Krishna Prabhupada himself would say na, that it takes one moment to surrender, one moment to become perfect. But that is what, do we put our focus fully and our faith fully and follow that completely, or are we doing it half-heartedly? So if the desire in our heart is that I want to take lifetimes, I want to spend lifetimes here because somewhere in my heart I still feel that I can get joy here, then Krishna will sanction that also. But that is actually insane. Srila Prabhupada has has given us the path whereby a devotee can achieve perfection in this life itself. His purports are so powerful, so clear. It is possible to go back to Godhead in one lifetime itself. Prabhu was saying this, and it was so nice to hear this. And then he said that what is the qualification? And this we have read in Nectar of Devotion also. The qualification is lolyam, greed. Do we have that greed to go back to Krishna in this life itself, to get pure love of Krishna in this life itself? See, in our spiritual life, we need to have that lolyam, that deep desire to achieve Krishna. Yes, we will pray to Krishna that Krishna, I don't have that qualification, but please make me pure. So that lolyam should be there. And we just have to make up our mind once and for all. So but the other thing is that if we are praying that, oh Krishna, I want to achieve you in this life itself, and yet we are engaging in all kinds of material activities, then that is hypocrisy. And hypocrisy has no place in spiritual life. That is not right. So, sincerely, we should endeavor. Sincerely, we should follow everything that has been told to us. And yeah, we know that that level that we are praying for is much, much beyond. And but while sincerely following all the instructions that have been given to us, we have that lolya, that desire, that high level of desire should always be there. Yes, while we are thinking like this, we also have to know that we should not do anything that is beyond our adhikar. For example, if we are not Brahman initiated, then we cannot just go and start performing deity worship just because I have that desire. No, but we should have the desire that one day I get Brahman initiated so that I am able to do deity worship. Okay. So, in our actions, we should not go beyond our adhikar, but our desire should always be for the supreme thing. Yes, I can feel that I'm very far away, but I should always have that aim should be very, very high. Okay. Yeah. Now let's read the next paragraph. As mentioned before, anyone wants to read? Yeah, Swati Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Krishna. Dhanvatana Mataji.
As mentioned before, Krishna says, one who tries to approach me to become Krishna conscious, but at the same time wants to become materially happy is not very intelligent. He is wasting his time. Our main business is to become Krishna conscious. That is the main business of human life. If we waste our time striving for material improvement and forget to chant Hare Krishna, that will be the great loss. Therefore, Krishna says, Ami Vigna Ei Murke Vishaya Kena Jiva. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhyalila 22.39. A rascal may ask some material prosperity from me in exchange for discharging devotional service, but why shall I give him material prosperity? Rather, whatever he has, I shall take away.
Hare
In
Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mother.
Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you. So, Prabhupada is mentioning that, as mentioned before, Krishna says that one who tries to approach me to become Krishna conscious, but at the same time also wants material happiness, such a person is not very intelligent and he is wasting his time. So this concept is very important to understand because we cannot, uh, like as they say, we cannot sail in two boats. We are definitely going to drown because uh, if we are having material desires or this hope that I am going to succeed materially, then we are not understanding that this world is actually Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. So what is the possibility of getting real happiness here? It is not possible. So we have to understand from the word of the scripture, and also if we look at our own lives, there's always something that is missing. And still, uh, the common thinking is that no, I'm just this little, separated from happiness. Just this one thing I achieve, and I'll be happy. So that one thing keeps changing with time, but there's always something. And then there are also times when we are completely drowned in misery. And then yet we think that, oh, just when this misery is removed, I'll be happy. So the happiness actually that we experience in this material world is just shifting of the weight from one shoulder to the other. So if someone is carrying heavy weight, we also might have that example that if we are carrying something very heavy, lifting something very happy, if we shift the weight from one shoulder to the other, or if we are carrying heavy bags and we move it from one hand to the other, for a moment it just feels very nice, no? Because this hand feels very relaxed. And that is the flickering happiness. That is all happiness that we get actually in this material world. Otherwise, it is just completely pain, full of pain. But the problem is we don't understand that. And Prabhupada is saying that in human life, our real business is Krishna consciousness. So in Srimad Bhagavatam also it is mentioned Kamasya Nendriya Preetir Labho Jiveta Yavata. That means life is not meant for sense gratification, but for realizing the absolute truth. And also in Bhagavad Gita 8.7, Lord Krishna says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Manusmara Yudhyacha. So always remember me and then do the work. So thinking of Krishna and then doing our work. So anything that we have, anything that we are doing, we should not separate it from Krishna. It is given by Krishna and it is for Krishna's service. And if we are forgetting Krishna, then actually that is the greatest loss, because then we'll go back to that kind of thinking that, oh, I am the master of all that I survey. Everything is for my happiness. And by my abilities and effort, I will be able to achieve happiness in this life. So we understand that asking for anything, any material thing for Krishna is definitely not right. In It's not the highest, but still, those people are considered pious. But we have to go and move forward from that stage, right? One who wants to become Krishna conscious and yet wants material happiness. Prabhupada has explained so nicely. Such a person is not very intelligent. See, many people come to temples for material happiness, but that is not real bhakti. Like, for example, in Balaji temple, lot of people come and they give big donations, but there's always some desire, right, for some material gain. But Balaji is so merciful that he accepts, but he also purifies. So there are many devotees who used to go to Balaji with some desire, something they want to achieve with a business minded kind of approach. But later on, they did come to Krishna Bhakti. So the Lord is very merciful. He also, if our sincerity is there, then He also purifies the devotee. So, like I mentioned earlier, that we have to have faith in the word of the scripture and know that this world is actually dukhalayam. How can one be materially happy here? Actually, the only way one can be materially happy here, or we can say the only people who are actually happy in this material world, are those who are not concerned about material happiness, right? They don't care whether they are happy or not, like devotees of Krishna. They are not running towards material happiness. And that is why when we see them, they're always smiling, they're always joyful, because their happiness is not coming from any material achievement. They are not bothered about this material world. And then their their joy, their happiness is actually the real happiness. So devotees, when they get over this stage of trying to get joy from this material world, when they become unconcerned by that, then gradually with their bhakti, their prarabdha karma is destroyed, and then their material pain also goes away. But they have reached such a stage where they are not bothered about any kind of material happiness. They are getting spiritual happiness. So the pure devotee does not bother about material happiness at all. And the other very important thing we have to learn from this paragraph is Prabhupada is saying being Krishna conscious is our main business. This we have to remember and keep reminding ourselves again and again. Now, if we understand this, and if we understand this, then we'll not waste our time striving for material improvement. See, because if we are striving too much for material improvement, Prabhupada is saying that if we waste our time striving for material improvement and forget to chant Hare Krishna, that will be a great loss. Now, one may say that I'm not forgetting to chant Hare Krishna, I am chanting daily. But then, when are we chanting? Are we just, if we are putting too much effort in material work, then we'll be working late nights, then waking up late in the morning, no time to chant in the morning, no time to serve Krishna in the morning. And then, even if we have that, desire to chant, that, okay, I have to complete my rounds, then we will be chanting in the worst mindset, probably late in the night or late in the evening just to finish our rounds. We are somehow the other just completing it. So I'm not talking about you all, but in general, if we are working too much for material prosperity and not prioritizing Krishna consciousness, then we are just chanting to finish it off. And then many times while chanting also, our mind will be engrossed somewhere else in the material things. So that is just like forgetting to chant only now. Because if we are chanting and not hearing anything, no focus at all, then we are not really prioritizing that. So we have to really analyze where we are, because Prabhupada is stating in very clear terms that we cannot sail in both the boats. If we are desiring perfection in Krishna consciousness and at the same time desiring material happiness, then this is not a very intelligent state of mind. So Prabhu, that in the lecture he was saying that we have few options in our life, three options basically. First is to just be material, and these options are for those who have some piousness, some pious, state of mind. So one option is to be material. Okay, just have a quarter of my leg in bhakti, but no serious desire to progress in bhakti. Possibly, if such a person has some, they do some kind of spiritual practices here and there, maybe in some later life, they may become a devotee, but this is still just the neophyte stage. The second option is the other extreme, where one just wants Krishna, pure devotion. So they make tremendous progress. They don't have any material desires, any material things that they are working towards. So such devotees will make tremendous progress. Now the problem comes in the third category, where the ones in the middle, they want to make spiritual progress and they also want material progress. So they do want to get, to get closer to Krishna, but also have material progress. This is the class that is going to struggle, because this is not a very good position to be in, because this is where Krishna will have to take the material fever away. Because in this state, the material fever is there, right? Hanging on to material desires, hanging on to the, to this and that. I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that. I want to serve Krishna, but I also want a big house. I also want a big car. I want this jewelry. I want this promotion in office. I want my life to be very happy. So here we are kind of midway, in between these two things. So then our struggles are going to be there, challenges are going to be there, because this is where the test comes, that okay, now choose, what do you want? Do you want spiritual growth or do you want material progress? And here, it may sound, uh, it may not sound a very happy state to be in, but here, if we are in that position where we are choosing Krishna, materially we may have more pain. So that is why I said it doesn't sound very nice, because we may experience a lot of material pain. But here in this state, if we choose Krishna now, then we have crossed over. Then we have made our decision that what is it that I actually want in my life? Do I want Krishna or do I want material progress? And when we choose Krishna, materially we may be uh, in a position which is not very, which doesn't look very appealing, but then that crossover needs to happen. We cannot keep hanging on to our material desires and yet desire Krishna. So this is very difficult to do. It is easy to say, but it is very difficult to do, to just cut that attachment, to cut that desire, and just focus on achieving Krishna. It is very difficult to do, and that is why we need all the support. We need the support of devotees, we need the support of Srila Prabhupada's books, his lectures, and most importantly, we have to pray for Krishna's mercy. This is not something that we can just achieve by our own ability. Again, here also, we have to depend upon Krishna. So, in that lecture, Prabhu was saying that we don't deserve anything. We don't even deserve to hold that bead bag in our hand, put tilak, hear Bhagavatam, read Bhagavatam. What is our qualification? We are not qualified to do this. It is by Srila Prabhupada's mercy that we got this opportunity. So yes, we may not feel that we are qualified to, love Krishna right now, but we should aspire for that. So, in spiritual life, that lolyam, that deep desire, hankering, or greed for Krishna, we have to develop that, and that is a qualification for progress. So, that decision needs to be made. Do I want this or do I want that? And desiring Krishna with that deep lolyam should be there. Okay. So, I'll stop here. If there are any questions, anything you want to add, any realizations you want to share, we have a few minutes. No? Okay. So we'll
Clearly.
stop. Yeah, Mataji, want to
It
say
was
something?
clear, I think. Hare Krishna.
I know the things I spoke today, they are quite heavy. I also feel that. But I found that lecture so inspiring that I wanted to share that because uh, we cannot, be laid back in our spiritual life. So sometimes we need this kind of a push. So that is why I wanted to share that with all of you. Okay.
Yes,
So,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
yes, Mataji.
Mataji, sometimes I used to chant every day, so 16 rounds. Some 1 or 2 days I cannot able to complete it. So
Mhm.
I used to feel like this, that because of my lust or desire, because of that only I'm lagging.
Mhm.
Um, I used to feel like that, and I next day I feel to complete. But even though I will be completing only 60 rounds only. So
Mhm.
every month after that period starts only, Mataji. So is it any? I used to feel that time very down to earth, because of my desire, my lusty desire or something. That only that bhakti is blocking for me, or I cannot able to chant like that. So is it any? From today, when you share that moment, no, you have to think positively only, then only you can be grow. So you said that it's very impressive, effective for me. That.
Mataji, if we miss out on our chanting, we should definitely try completing it the next day. I mean, in a very like extreme situation only, if we are not able to do. And this feeling that you're getting now, that I made a mistake, or something I missed out, this will help us improve the next time. So we should correct ourselves, but the way should be that again praying for Krishna's mercy. That if I get depressed and then I leave my chanting more and more, then it's not serving the purpose. So yes, we feel guilty if we missed out on some practice, but then again the next day we should do it with more enthusiasm if we missed it the previous day. And again, we have to keep looking forward only, Mataji. uh, what we missed, if we just keep feeling depressed about it, then the next day's chanting also is not going to be good now. So that feeling of guilt also, we should take it in a positive way, so that I don't do it again. I don't make that mistake again. So it should actually push us forward, not pull us back.
Mm. Thank you,
Okay,
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
thank you so much, Mataji. And Mataji, it happens many times. It happens with a lot of people. So we are all struggling in our own ways. So you may have missed your chanting, others may have missed some other seva. I have also missed many things. So please don't feel that you are the only one. We are all struggling on this path. But that's the thing, it should, that guilt also should make us more responsible and keep pushing us forward only. Okay,
Okay,
Mataji.
Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you all so much. We'll stop here. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. वैष्णव की जय, कुंती महारानी की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरु महाराज की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंद, हरि हरि बोल. Thank you all so much. Hari bol, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji.
Dandavat. Pranamam.
Hare Krishna.